London wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And I'll apologize for us being 4 minutes later starting today. We were too busy singing Eminem songs. But today we're not talking Eminem. Instead, we're talking who the most underrated WWE star is. Tony Khan and Ricky Stark's confusing interviews this week. What is next for the Hardy Boys? And if WWE Speed has been a success, along with previewing tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Firstly, let me introduce the panel, and let's kick things off with the man who was just singing River by Eminem. Clark, how are you today, Clark?
I was seeing the Ed Sheeran part. Everyone knows that. But I'm stoked to be here, of course, on a Wednesday, an RC Wednesday. No spoilers here, though. That's my fault. No spoilers. I'm fired up to get into it. What's up with you guys?
Absolutely. Also joining us today, you just spoiled it. We have Chaos. How are you today, Chaos?
What's good? What's good, everybody? So Ben says that they were singing. I call it absolutely butchering a cat through a flipping sawing mill. So that's what it sounded like that when they was singing the parts of Eminem and Ed Sheeran. But anyway, I digress. It's happy Wednesday. We're here to talk about Dynamite and everything else that's been going on in the wrestling industry. So let's get straight to it, shall we?
Chaos, you've heard my voice. I only have a small selection of notes. You got to give me a break on that.
Very small.
Yeah, I've got like 2 or 3 total.
Better than me. I have none. Last but certainly not least, we have Josh. How are you today, Josh?
What's going on, Ben? What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I'm doing great. I just graduated high school last night, so this is the first day post-high school for me. Thank you very much. So I am happy to spend the first day post-high school with Wrestling Republic. Hopefully many, many more days. But I'm stoked to be here. We've got a lot of great topics to talk about. Without further ado, let's get into the most underrated WWE star.
How are you not drunk? Like, are you supposed to be getting wasted?
That's what you do when you finish high school, right?
21's a legal age here in America.
Okay. Wink. Okay, cool.
Well,
Doesn't everybody know a 21-year-old?
Oh gosh, but let's just jump straight into the most underrated WWE star. Every few months, somebody submits this as a question for Mailbag Monday. Nobody has for a while, so I thought to myself, well, how about I submit it myself for the Wednesday news show? So, Clark, who do you reckon is currently the most underrated WWE star?
There are so many choices here. There's a lot. I was tempted to go LA Knight. Yeah. But I do think he's pretty properly rated. Wish he'd be pushed a little bit more, but I do think he's pretty properly rated by the fan base, at least, given the reactions he still gets. I'm going to go with Trick Williams. I think Trick Williams is the most underrated star in WWE. He's carried the title excellently since he won it. His run, his comeuppance has been outstanding, but all the talk on the main roster is about Carmelo Hayes. I think Trick Williams is the most underrated WWE star. He's so dang good and was so good in all of the matchups with Melo all along the way, his run to winning the NXT championship. Yeah, Trick Williams is my pick.
We're going to get into a discussion about the word underrated here because Max2Swaggy is saying that Drew and Damian Priest are contenders. I'm sorry, but if you're a champion in any way, or were previously a world champion, unless it's like one outlier reign or something, I don't think you can be underrated. If you're a champion, you're a champion. You're properly rated.
I guess Trick is the champion, but I do think at the same time, he's underrated by the fan base as a whole. So that's unfair. That's kind of a loophole in the way that I would say it, just because NXT gets a little bit of shade compared to the main roster. Like it's not looked upon as that's important, true. I would say in some ways. If you are going by that rule, Ben, then I will stick with my original that I said, LA Knight. I think is the most underrated. Yeah.
You're gonna love this Max guy over on Instagram, Clark, because he's also saying Cody is overrated. So
got him. Tie clips. It's those goofy tie clips.
What about you though, Chaos? Who do you reckon is currently the most underrated star in the WWE?
Personally, I think it's Becky Lynch. No, I'm joking. It's not Becky Lynch. No, no. Imagine that, her being underrated. No way. Anyway, yeah, my pick will probably have to be someone that's definitely been underutilized and not and because of that, people think that he's just absolutely rubbish. But I don't think so. I'd say definitely Santos Escobar. Sure, he's obviously prominently on TV, but obviously the stuff that he's been getting has not been great ever since the LWO faction, and then obviously now he's obviously with Legado del Fantasma. But even now, like people are the way they've been portrayed on TV is they're not really that credible, and obviously now they're trying to recruit Andrade and all that kind of stuff. But the guy can work in the ring. He's great on the mic. His run in NXT arguably was better than it is on the main roster. What it is, I don't know, but it's again, it's that always that weird disconnect sometimes between the weird disconnect between the NXT and main roster, where sometimes the creative team on the main roster they synergize with people for NXT, and then others they just don't for whatever reason, even if like there's barely any change to the character. So it really is confusing. But I feel like he could definitely be a solid upper mid carder with his work and how he can carry a story, especially doing that little thing that he had the little feud with Rey Mysterio. I felt that was he showed his potential what he could do against someone that's legendary as Rey Mysterio. So yeah, obviously it's still early days, but there's only only a certain amount of time where the crowd will just not care for you, and then obviously the dreaded day happens when unfortunately you get the future endeavor thing, which is not his fault of his own. So someone that is definitely underappreciated and underrated in my eyes is definitely Santos Escobar. But this time, only time will tell.
I think that is a great shout, Chaos. And I mean, let's not forget, it was about a year ago now, me and you were at Money in the Bank in the O2, and he was so over there. I remember those chants they were doing the Lucas Paqueta just sold my car chants. It was hilarious. Just sold my car to Santos Escobar. I mean, honestly, he was so over in London. And you're right, he's a great promo. He feels like a star. I mean, and recently as well, I feel like on the main roster, that's been translating a lot better. So hopefully he will start to get over a little bit more now. But a great shout. We have Mr. Lamar C. Steelers who's saying JD McDonough. He's a good worker and the way he sells helps out other talent. Great shout. I don't disagree with that one at all, actually. Very strong shout. Josh, what about you? Who do you reckon the most underrated star right now on WWE's roster is?
Yeah, I think the most underrated star probably is Bronson Reed, in my opinion. I mean, for starters, he's got the look, he's got the accent, the moveset, the agility of a star, honestly. And we know he can be a star. Like in New Japan, he defeated Kazuchika Okada in the G1 Climax. Like they gave him a push. That is a huge win for him. And he didn't win the tournament, but still, like just to know that he actually beat Kazuchika Okada, and then you're seeing him on Raw just lose kind of dumb matches. Like it's kind of crazy to think about. And he's been at that top level before in another country, and there's no reason why he can't get that level again in the States in WWE. And I think his return to WWE so far has been great. I think he was one of Triple H's best re-signings. I think he typically always puts on good matches, an entertaining wrestler. I mean, the way he moves around the ring for being a 300-pound guy is it's incredible. And he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I feel like that's already been forgotten about. Like it happened on SmackDown before WrestleMania. It has not even been talked about. I don't even know if they even mention it when he comes out anymore. Like it's not even talked about. And he puts in work week after week. He's consistently showing up. He's delivering good matches on Raw. He had a great match, King and the Queen in the ring, in that triple threat. And especially when you're losing at PLEs, you're losing championship matches. It's tip of the cap to you, Bronson, for just keep going, keep putting in the work. But I mean, look, the deal is the main roster is packed, and there's so many stars who deserve a title shot. And Bronson's been going at this IC title for the past 8 months, and I feel like he is a very underrated star. And he's having great matches nonstop. So I mean, honestly, where do you go from here? I don't think I wouldn't want this to be a demotion or an insult, but honestly, like let him get a shot at the NXT title. Like he held that NXT North American belt for like only 40 days, which was nothing. So why not let him go? Get on the NXT, have a program with Trick Williams or have a program with Ethan Page, whoever wins that match. And that'd be a stellar match and a stellar program. I don't think I don't want it to be a demotion just going from Raw to NXT. I just think he'd be utilized way better there. And of course, he was already over in NXT before he got re-signed. So that'd be a great spot. But, I think Bronson Reed has been very underrated in his work, his work ethic, his talent, his abilities, his skills, and all the above, honestly.
Bronson Reed, he's another great shout. He truly is. You mentioned New Japan. He beat Okada in the G1 Climax. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't as high on him in New Japan as other people I think were. But at the same time, that was during silent crowds as well, when they could only clap. So that's undoubtedly a factor too, probably is why I didn't enjoy it quite as much as some people did. But you are right, he's been a great re-signing, and he never did get that big NXT gold belt. So maybe now could be the time. I'd certainly be up for that, no doubt about it. I mean, it is quite interesting how many really underrated names there are in WWE right now, and it's the same for AEW too. We're gonna have to have that conversation, another day, another week. But I mean, another person who's very underrated, I reckon, as much as I hate to say it, because the guy not only supports the world's worst team, Tottenham, but he also stole the word Republic from us, which everybody knows I invented. And that is Pete Dunne. He is
Ask George Lucas.
Yeah, exactly. George Lucas had to ask me, and I was like, "Listen,
got it
George,
from Ben.
Big fan. Love your script here. You can use it." And it turned into a huge thing. I clearly saw it first, despite the fact I was like 20 years away from being born. But what was I going to say? Pete Dunne is so underrated. He truly is, and it surprised me a lot how he's not been booked better under Triple H. I thought he was going to get a huge push when Triple H got the pen, but he hasn't. But I mean, yeah, I still think there's hope for Pete Dunne. He's still young, but he's a brilliant talker. When he's a heel, he is one of the best heels out there. He's ruthless. We talk about ruthless aggression all the time. He's got it. He's got a lot of it indeed. But also in between those ropes, he's one of the best in the world. I truly believe that. And yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he's not, become a bigger deal. And part of that, I feel, is like, we never got a proper conclusion to the Brawling Brute, Pete Dunne versus Sheamus. I still wish we could have got that one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We have got a couple of comments here. Tatum Paxley is the correct answer, fellas, says Shardy. Of course, you said that.
In the words of Snoop Dogg at the Breakfast Club. Who?
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 I didn't. Sorry. Who?
Joe Coffey says Soul. I mean, he actually is underrated. I'll actually will give you that. He had a couple of. Yeah, I remember there was like I think like 5 NXT UK takeovers, and Joe Coffey main evented I think 2 or 3 of them. It was really bizarre how much of a push that he got. Max 2 Swaggy also says Dominic Mysterio. That is actually, to be honest with you, who I might even have to go with. People do not realize how great of a heel this guy is. And also, he's improved in the ring a lot. And because he's a heel, he kind of holds it back a little bit. But he's a lot cleaner with every little thing he does than he was like a few months ago.
I actually miss him in the ring. Like his injury.
Wow.
I mean, it looks to be okay because he wasn't wearing the sling on Monday. So
yeah.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Clearly, the kiss from Liv Morgan just
yo
of everything.
I get it.
That was important.
Mm-hmm.
That was an important process in the healing.
Yeah,
or
that
at least
one
that's
mattered.
Mike Hell's girlfriend. But let's now move on, shall we, fellas? Let's move on because we need to talk about another toxic relationship, and that is between Tony Khan and Ricky Starks. Because we all know Ricky Starks did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, I don't know why I'm not on AWTV. I have no clue. I'd like to be there, but I'm just not booked. Well, Tony Khan did an interview with CBS Sports ahead of Double or Nothing, and he was asked, when's, Ricky Starks coming back? And Tony Khan says, and I will quote him, I really like Ricky Starks a lot. Oh, that's gone now.
Okay.
So, here it is. So, I think Ricky Starks is tremendous. I'd love to get him involved and back in AEW anytime. He's been a huge part of what we've done here for about 4 of the past 5 years. Right. Tony Khan, big fan. But I don't know if anybody's told you this before, but you are the booker of AEW. It is your
What?
decision about whether or not you book someone on the show. Ricky Stark has said in an interview he doesn't know why he's not being booked and he wants to be booked. You are the booker. You're saying you want to book him, so why don't you book him?
Oh,
Like,
wait.
This was just.
What?
I'm so confused. Like, this is maybe just people are actually overlooking. This was a couple of days ago, and people have stopped talking about this already. People are overlooking like how stupid this comment is. This might just be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in an interview. You are the booker. You cannot say, "Oh, I'd really like to book him." Well, why don't you then? You're the one who does it. It makes no sense to me. Clark, please put me out of my misery and just have some explanation or something.
I think
otherwise...
it made me laugh harder than anything. I mean, what do you say in that position, right? It's a difficult question to answer because you kind of look like the guy that's not booking him already. So like he's trying to be positive, and I think it was just like a really, really dumb spin. I've said for a long time though, someday they're gonna actually work us. Somebody's gonna like fully work the media. And it would be really cool if, even if this did start as a shoot, if somehow Starks, Tony Khan can sit down, get on the same page, and turn this into a work thing, like he's being held back, maybe even causing him to join the EVPs for some reason. I don't know. Make something out of this. Figure out, right? Just something, some positive out of a situation that's just goofy as could be, right? Like it's silly. And no, I'm a huge Ricky Starks fan, and no knock on Ricky Starks, but it does just feel like one of those deals where it's like, all right, come on, let's just figure it out. Let's get Ricky back on TV. Let's get him on the phone with Tony Khan. If Tony means that, if Tony doesn't, let's move on and let Ricky work. Right? He's so good. He needs to be back on television more often, no matter where it is. I hope it's AEW because he's done great work in AEW. And there's definitely room on the card for a Ricky Starks. It's just there's no simple solution other than just booking him. And the complex one is to use this somehow to tell a fun story.
It makes no sense. It makes zero. I mean,
Yeah.
the EVP thing, they've got a
It
stable.
doesn't. It's like,
Jack
what do you
Perry's in it. It's fine. It does what it needs to do. Soul saying here what I actually think might be the case. He thinks there's more to this situation, and TK just gave a safe yet confusing answer as he's not a fan of conflict. No, I actually want to see a bit more Dana White about Tony Khan. I want him to just come out.
That'd be
and
so
just be
hilarious.
just be like, no, like, he's moaning about his booking, so I'm not going to book him. How about that? You can sit at home, enjoy it. If he wants to come back to work and, work in the storylines, which I pay him to work in, then he can do that. If not, well, he can just sit at home and just, twiddle his thumbs or something. Because honestly, I mean, like, this, Tony, you got to stop being so nice, man. You got to stop being so nice.
That is actually something I can imagine Tony Khan saying, like twiddle his thumbs without actually swearing. You we just like, why don't you just go and twiddle his thumbs? Like that's how much we think of TK. That's how bad it is.
No, I mean, I really don't get it's so dumb. Like Tony, I feel like just to stop drama sometimes just says dumb stuff in interviews to try and take the blame himself almost, which I think it's a very nice thing to do, but at the same time, you got to remember, you're the face of the company, Tony. Like you need to. You can't have everybody making you the joke, and I have respect for him and the fact that he doesn't want to negatively talk about his talent, but he's got to. He's got to talk about it negatively about his talent if they're being negative. You got to do it. You should have done it with CM Punk. Anyway,
especially with CM Punk. Look how well that went. So yeah.
Shard saying Ethan Page's promo yesterday was telling people I could have sat on my couch for another 2 years collecting a check. I again, that is just, it's hilarious. It truly, truly is. And Shard saying, why is it on Ricky? I mean, it's not necessarily on Ricky, but that's what we're speculating. We could all speculate the different way that Tony Khan's just not booking him. And if so, then like he's as big of an idiot as he looked in this interview. Because why else would you be like, oh, well, I want to book him, Book him. Like, it's like these politicians. It literally is. I was watching the political debate yesterday between the two people running to be prime minister in the UK, and they were all saying, "Oh, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this." None of you are doing anything. Anyway, let's.
Only now you realize that, Ben. God damn, I felt for you.
I realized it a long time ago, but every time I see one of these debates, it reminds me. Shard saying, "Great shirt, Clark." Of course, you have Mr. Amazing. You're rapping Mr. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Today.
Oh, Mr. Amazing, top
What
one.
about my shirt? Final boss. The man that formerly known as the one with the spotty connection. I'm good now. Final boss. Like, come on, man. Respect me, man. Come on.
Hasn't appeared though on the network. He hasn't appeared on the platform.
A friend of the Republic, Mr.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Mr. Amazing's a friend of the Republic.
Oh, my bad. Okay, hi, Mr. Amazing. You're amazing.
He's the man.
He's the man.
He's the top one.
Well,
final
just
boss.
like so, Chaos seemingly doesn't watch off the air. But
dang it, Chaos!
To take it to the table crew, hate wrestling off the air. There's
wild,
an internal feud here. But
show on show crime.
We're all the same family, same team, guys. Not talking about the same team. Let's talk about some people who are on the same team as us too, and that is our good friends over at Next Level. Now, if you guys don't know what Next Level is, basically they put all our social media links all in one place for us, and that's nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, all linked in one place. It's easy, it's free. All our content is there, plus exclusive content, plus also other wrestling content creators on there too. Thriving wrestling community. That's nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. But now let's move on to talk a little bit about what's next for the Hardy Boys. Of course, the Hardy Boys have had quite a long career, but we've done a poll today in the Wrestling Republic Instagram broadcast channel, and people seem to be split between WWE, a WWE return, or retirement. Chaos, I want to get your perspective on this one. Should we see a retirement year, or do you reckon they've got one last run in the WWE, or a return to TNA even?
So yeah, I did see this poll come up, and I was a bit torn. See, because I was actually at WrestleMania when they made their return at WrestleMania 33, Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. I've never marked out so much in my life when I saw them make a comeback. And you know, I thought that was their perfect timing to have that one last run. You know, broken Matt Hardy was doing good, as well as Jeff Hardy's character, whatever that may be at the time. But they were hot. And obviously things kind of tapered off. And then obviously Jeff Hardy left prematurely, and then so did Matt left afterwards. And then obviously they had the AEW run. It's been definitely a mixed bag, somewhat, for both of them. And right now, yeah, they're kind of in limbo. I mean, they could have one more run, but I felt like that last one that they did was their best shot at it. Right now, obviously, this is a new regime. In terms of they're not really going for the nostalgia acts. If it was back with the old regime in WWE, I think most likely they will have another one more run on there. Maybe go for the championships, and then have that Dudley Boys run that they had in 2013, if I recall, something similar to that kind of level. They've already done that. They've already done their world tour when they were collecting all the championships in ROH, TNA, all the other places. They've done that. They've done it all. They don't have anything really left to prove. And yeah, in this current landscape of WWE, I don't feel anything really fits for them. And AEW, that's also changed as well. So I don't know. It's a really tricky situation. That maybe go on that one final tour, do something similar to like with the Great Muta, some like when he did his last run, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a really sad day when they actually hang up the boots, and I can understand why they don't really want to do it yet, because they want to have that last final, that final moment, defining moment. But yeah, like, you know, Father Time catches everybody, and you know, Jeff Hardy's, you know, and Matt himself, that it's all catching up to them with all their injuries and whatnot. So I don't know. I kind of want to see him in WWE. I kind of don't, and I kind of want to see him in AEW, but I kind of don't. So yeah, I think they just need to do one more run, like an all-round run, even if it's like a per appearance type of thing, and then just call it, I guess, at WWE. Give him. It doesn't have to be for a championship, just a memorable tag team match against, I don't know, like the Creed brothers or something like that. New against old, and then yeah, just right up into the sunset. But yeah, I feel like they definitely need something to be more defining of their career, and then that's it. But yeah, that's what I feel. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, I think that is a great take. I mean, this is what I think they should do. I think Matt should call Tony Khan, remind him he does book the product, and then ask him to book the Hardy Boys in one final match. Then go to ask him if they can also do one final match in Ring of Honor. Then go to TNA, have one final match there, and then go to WWE and have one final match there too. So, like you said, a Great Muta-esque retirement tour. I think that could be a lot of fun. And they just play in the hits. They know it's just a one-off. There's not going to be any trouble because they're not specifically in any promotion long enough for there to be trouble. And yeah, I think that would be very entertaining and the send-off which they do deserve, because I mean, there's obviously been issues, but the Hardy Boys are undoubtedly one of the best tag teams of all time.
The pioneers.
Yeah, they really, really are. I mean, it's in different. Even for me, when I got into wrestling after the Hardy Boys were initially a team, and I was just so drawn into Jeff Hardy. And then when I got back into wrestling in 2016, Broken Matt was somebody who I love too. So it's even for me, who was a little bit after that time, they've still got such a big connection with my love of professional wrestling. So yeah, I'd love to see them get the respect that they deserve. But I mean, well, Soul and Shard are both not being very respectful. They're saying, what's next for them? Hosting a podcast from the retirement home. Meanwhile, Shard said the Hardy Boys are about to be the bingo hall champs at their retirement home. Classy as ever, boys. Classy as ever.
The last thing, if anything, if they don't get that world tour, I mean, who knows? They could do their biggest hit in AEW when Christian Cage turns face, and it's gonna be Copeland and Christian versus the Hardys one final time. I'll be down for that. At the very least.
Me too.
Why not? Greatest hits.
CNC doesn't hit the same as ENC though, does it?
No, that could mean anything. So yeah, no, it's not CNC. Yeah, so that. They can't even use the flash photography thing. They're gonna call it, like, for those with people with smartphones, it's gonna be cringe. Just don't do
it. Let's now move on to something which some people do think is cringe, and that is WWE Speed. Josh,
nice segue.
It's divided people a lot. It really has. Some people are loving it. Some people are absolutely despising it online. 3-minute time limits. Really fast-paced action, tournament-like style every week. Ricochet's the current champion. The champion's not allowed to be shown on WWE TV because the championship is only allowed to be shown on Twitter. That's part of the deal, which is so weird to me because surely it's good marketing to have the championship elsewhere. But anyway, Josh, I want to get your thoughts so far on WWE Speed.
Yeah, so I actually really do enjoy Speed, but I mean, just like what you just said right now is really the biggest issue. It's the Twitter, and it's this has to stay on Twitter, or X, sorry, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of the issue right now, because I mean, like, just hearing that, like, there's a WWE champion and he's not even shown on Raw or SmackDown or PLE with the belt. Like, it's weird to see Ricochet on Raw knowing that he's holding a belt. Like, if you go on WWE and look at the active roster, he's under the champions tab, and you don't even see him holding the belt unless you're on Twitter. So that's just a little weird. And also, people just generally aren't used to watching like full wrestling matches. I know it's only 3 minutes, but still, like, you're going on Twitter just for a quick scroll feed, whatever. You're not really going on Twitter to watch a full wrestling match. So for some viewers, it's definitely a little bit different. It's something to adapt to. That's kind of the I think the biggest issue, but I don't even think that's a huge issue, because genuinely, I have been a huge fan of Speed. I think it's been a success so far. Obviously, I don't know the numbers and the ratings, but in my opinion, I think for the crowd, it's very exciting. I think I think obviously we do all of the big field matches where, the John Cena Rock, stuff like that. It takes 5 minutes to lock up. But I think here, like where the matches are just 3 minutes itself, it makes for an entertaining match, like no matter what. And I do think this was a good idea by WWE because, nowadays people's attention spans aren't the best. Like I have the worst attention span ever. I'm on my phone nonstop. I look around, I'm doing all these type of stuff, and sometimes I just can't watch these matches on Raw because they're just weird and they take a while or they're too short and there's not enough going on. There's too much in between spots, like after commercial breaks, before commercial breaks, nothing's really going on. But like here in Speed, like there's always stuff going on. It's really action packed. It's short, rapid fire matches. It's free to watch. I think it was really kind of like a zero risk experiment by WWE, which has gone very, very well. On one side, it gives the talent something to do. It occupies the attention, the screen time with the brand, provides an opportunity to gateway into bigger shows potentially. However, I don't know because of that Twitter deal. But I think if no one watches them, they just stop doing it. It seems like a risk-free experiment kind of. And I also like the no storyline kind of thing. It's fun sometimes just to watch athletic people do athletic stuff. And that's what Speed is. We don't need storylines, backstage brawls. It's just entertaining pro wrestling, and of course, not to mention like it's doing the lower to middle card guys and some good because Twitter's a big platform and their work is being displayed there. So I mean, yeah, overall, I'm a big fan of what they're doing. I like the high flying, fast paced matches. I think it's a good idea, just because why not? High upside. I feel like there's a minimal chance of failure, and if it does, it's not a huge deal if it fails. So I think WWE has something good going on here. I think they just got to stick with it. I don't know how the views are and the ratings and the engagement with it on Twitter. However, I do think if they just continue to stick with it, and eventually if they're allowed to actually mention it on WWE, then it would gain more views. So I'm going to agree with you. I don't know why they're kind of keeping it on Twitter. It makes way more sense for them to be able to mention it on a way bigger platform like cable television, because then more people will watch it on Twitter. But it is what it is. But I've enjoyed it so far. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I to be honest with you, I kind of agree. We have Soul here saying, "Will the speed belt ever be defended on a premium live event or Mania?" Right now, it can't be. It's in theory it could be, but it can't be right now because it's an exclusive deal with X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, it gets the money. It is getting the money for very little, I guess. 3 minutes. That's all it is, and it's getting them. We don't know how much, but we will find out when the next quarterly earnings are reported. But it's interesting. Soul's also saying it's good people are getting opportunities, but it's weird that the catering crew are getting their own brand. I mean, they're not in catering. Like half the names on this really
wasn't Reed on there.
Yeah, Ciampa's on there. So is Carl Anderson kind of is, but Ricochet isn't either. But
not now. Hopefully not now. After what happened last week, we'll see. But yeah, you might have just remembered about him in catering. They may have remembered him.
But we'll have to wait and find out. But no, I do agree. The fact that it's only on Twitter is good business wise, but like for the longevity of the brand, I think the belt thing's the weirdest to me. You should be able to have the belt, not even defended, but just shown on normal programming. Yeah. Like, surely that's like good marketing. I don't get that at all. Right. Very, very bizarre to me indeed. But now let's move on. Because I'm going to bring you back in, Josh, because I want to talk to you about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, because we have 4 things announced for the show, which is actually a lot less than usual, right? But I'm still very much, looking forward to it. I don't mind the fact they've not announced everything. But one thing they have announced this week is the return of MJF. Last week, we were all so confused at the fact that he just wasn't on the show. We were like, he just returned, now he's not on the show. You're not, capitalizing on the momentum you got from him. It made no sense. But hey, he's back now. And we also have Mariah May versus Saraya tonight as well, along with the Blackpool Combat Club against Magnus, Volador Jr., Rugi. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at these pronunciations, guys. I'm so bad at them. Rugido and Esfinge. Again, I'm so sorry. I very 99.9% butchered that. I am just awful with pronunciation. See, I can't even pronounce pronunciation. There we are. Eventually got that.
My goodness.
But something that I can pronounce is the AEW World Championship. And we've been complaining about these eliminator matches Well, they finally said, hey, let's just stop doing them and let's give a fully, full-blown championship opportunity to Roderick Strong. And he is taking on Swerve Strickland tonight in hopefully the main event, because Swerve, he deserves the main event scene, no doubt about it. But Josh, I'll ask you first, what are you most excited for on tonight's show?
Yeah, so we have a good card, just like you said, AEW belt finally actually on the line. I know the last daily I did kind of complain that they defend the belt too many times on Dynamite. But now I'm kind of being a little bit of a hypocrite because I love watching championship matches for free. So why not give us, at least it's not an eliminator match, because those really do suck. So thank God we're getting that tonight. We're also getting some AEW versus CMLL stuff, which is great. Of course, the MJF return is great, but look, here's what I'm really looking forward to, and people are gonna disagree for sure, and I'm ready to hear the comments, but TV time with Chris Jericho. And here's why, why do I enjoy the learning tree Chris Jericho? It's complicated, but mostly I think it's absolutely hilarious. I think we got Chris Jericho here. People are chanting, please retire. People are chanting, you suck. Everybody, he's over here smiling, just doing his wave. He's being the teacher. And I think it's so funny. Everybody's booing him. He's just sitting here waving. He reminds you a little bit of a Zoolander or a Ron Burgundy or like a Billy Madison, like a clueless kind of movie character that has no idea what's going on around him at all. He's just there in the moment. Just he doesn't even know what's going on. I think it's hilarious. I think he's killing the role. Do I think it's good television or worth a slot on Dynamite tonight? No, but it is so funny. So it is what it is. But I actually am really excited to see what they do tonight with him. I think it is so funny. I always look forward to it. And of course, MJF returning is going to be awesome. I'm so excited for that. And the championship match can be great as well. But just a guy who's clueless about everything going on is hilarious. And especially because it's Chris Jericho, 50-year-old veteran. Everybody kind of hates him right now. So he's just using this heel gimmick to the best they got, the best opportunity they have to use him. So, I'm excited to see what he brings with us tonight. And I'm ready to be educated on some good life lessons from Chris Jericho.
Yeah, you might have finished high school yesterday, Josh, but I hope your teachers taught you that you never stop learning, and tonight you're going to need to get those textbooks right back out again, because Chris Jericho will be teaching you some very useful lessons. Also, another thing which I've just forgotten to point out is our CEO, Mercedes Moné, is going to be rewarding her loyal fans today by getting hacked by Uncle Howdy and showing a surprise QR code during the show. That's been announced too. So they're now announcing a surprise QR code.
What is that?
It's not a surprise then, is it? If you're
Yeah, what?
announcing it. It's
It's cringe. I'm not gonna lie, it is cringe. It's really cringe. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't agree with it. Like, get your own ideas. Why? Like, the thing's been going on for weeks, and now you want her to do her own thing. Like, unless I'm gonna get money out of this, if I'm gonna see something on my Cash App, don't do it at all. Like, what the hell? Sorry.
Surprise! Not only are they stealing the QR code idea, they're also announcing it. It's not a surprise if you announce it. Chaos, what are you most excited for tonight?
I don't know what's happening tonight. I'm not gonna lie. What's happening tonight?
I just ran out the card.
Oh, did you? Oh, my bad. I just heard the QR code.
We have the Blackpool Combat Club versus Magnus and Volador Jr., Rujito and Espina. In an 8-man tag, and then we've got Swerve Strickland and Roddy Strong for the AEW World Championship, Mariah May and Saraya, and then MJF returns. That's
I'm crying. All right, out of all of that, MJF. I'm sorry. I appreciate that. Thank you, Clark. MJF, that's what I'm definitely looking forward to. I want to see where he's actually going to fit in with this thing, because the World Championship scene is arguably busy right now. He could possibly try and slot in with the stuff that's going on with the Elite, because obviously he's said that he dropped the Wolf of AEW line. He's not leaving. He's got the tattoo on the back of his leg. Who knows? I feel like and clearly this Adam Cole situation or this storyline is taking a brief hiatus. I don't think Cole's ready at any time, going to be ready anytime soon. So yeah, he's pretty much free. He's pretty much open. I think obviously he's going to try and see if he can get into the main title picture. But yeah, I feel like he probably will fit a bit more in the situation regarding the EVPs and trying to wiggle this their hold away from the power struggle between the original elite and obviously the EVP. So I think he might figure into maybe when they do the blood and guts match, maybe, or I don't know what else they're gonna do. So yeah, that's out of everything. The fact that obviously on my IG nothing's really popped up about what's happening on this week's AEW, that just, and usually when it's popping, it usually comes up, but I haven't seen nothing on my feed. So yeah, that's why I know this one's gonna be pretty much a little bit of a filler episode, which yeah, fair enough. There's only so much you could do every week. But yeah, if anything, I think there's a reason why they postponed MJF's return to Dynamite instead of last week to this week. Because they had a lot going on last week. So this time they definitely need him. So MJF return and see where he's gonna go from there. That's my thing.
I mean,
I'm so sorry by the beginning.
We've got Chad suggesting MJF versus Roosh, as Roosh has called him out. Is the plan for Forbidden Door, right? To do, of course, we got Swerve versus Ospreay. So Ospreay used to be part of New Japan, but then AEW,
doesn't
stole
count.
him.
Yeah.
And Roosh used to be part of CMLL, and then AEW stole him. So is the plan for Forbidden Door this year to just do AEW versus AEW talent that they've stolen from other promotions? Is that the Forbidden Door? If so, it's not very forbidden.
Definitely. I love how you just went middle class right there. No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's a really whack card. Like, to be fair, we actually spoke about this on we just filmed our episode of Take It to the Table regarding this situation, and it feels like, especially when it comes to Swerve, the fact that they, instead of putting him against a New Japan person and they have to do this Will Ospreay storyline, which in my personal opinion, they should have waited until All In. The fact they're moving it all the way up to Forbidden Door, it kind of shows that they don't really have that much trust in Swerve to sell tickets to face a New Japan wrestler, and it's very aggravating of their presentation of their, let's just say it, their first black AEW champion, and it feels like there's trust issues there when he's really the complete package, and he's a crossover. He can be a crossover person to be in mainstream and in wrestling, and they're rushing things with Will Ospreay when they could have done that at All In. So yeah, it's a weird card. I feel like, yeah, like the fantasy and all the glitz and glamour of the Forbidden Door between New Japan and AEW is definitely worn off by now. And yeah, they're just hitting the panic button on a lot of things. And that Forbidden Door thing is the new Forbidden Door is NXT and TNA right now. That's the new Forbidden Door basically. And yeah, AEW did not like that. And that's why they're stretching to go to CMLL. I'm sorry, but I don't want CMLL.
And it's not even CMLL's own talent; it's the talent AEW have nicked off them. But I mean, there are some positives. Wheeler Yuta's back tonight. There we are. Very exciting. But I didn't even mean it like that. But yeah,
wow.
I like Wheeler.
I'm supposed to follow that. How am I supposed to follow that, Ben? That's your fault.
What?
You were like, oh no, right before Clark comes on, let's show that comment in particular.
What's your thoughts on tonight's card?
I mean, I'm excited. I love Dynamite. I was there last week. I'm going to go this route. Swerve Strickland, I agree with a lot of what Chaos said about the situation. It's bogus. And I want Swerve to feel like the main eventer he should feel like. And he did in the arena last week. He got arguably the biggest pop in Los Angeles of anybody's entrance. Anybody's. And not, it wasn't really that close. There was a couple close, but the crowd was super stoked to see Swerve. He can only control what he can control right this second, and that's putting on an absolute banger of whatever cliche you'd like to use about his match tonight with Roderick Strong. That's the best thing Swerve can do. So I'm hoping that goes down in a positive way. I'm looking forward to MJF's return, but I do totally get where you guys are coming from on Forbidden Door. I don't understand why Evil and Swerve isn't necessarily in the pipeline. Even a triple threat, if you're going to do something, I guess maybe, I don't know. I am looking forward to seeing what they do on tonight's Dynamite with the match itself. I think Swerve can put on a great match as always, and I hope he gets a great reception and things start to look better.
If it really was between doing Swerve and Evil or Swerve and Osprey, in that situation, Tony, you've made the correct call.
There you go.
But I mean, I agree with you, Clark. Last week's Dynamite, I think it's always a really. I was actually thinking this last week when I was watching Dynamite. I wish I was there in the arena like you were watching it, because it seemed like a show, and it quite often does, where it's a lot better to just be in the arena for, compared to WWE, where a lot of the time their TV shows are better to watch at home because of the amount of ad breaks.
Yep. It was one of those ones where, and no question about it, like, I'll admit, like, even while we were at the show, it was one of those classic where, like, I was there with my mom, shout out my mom, but like, we were kind of like, this isn't the greatest Dynamite, right? We've been to a few Dynamites, like, this is not the best Dynamite I've ever been to, but it was an LA crowd. They were into it. Rampage, I actually was shocked, got really, really good crowd reactions. And I think that's a conversation for another time because of the traffic situation in LA. I mean, the arena filled in the second hour, right? And you had Swerve out second, and you had Mercedes out first last week. And that's at 5:00 in Los Angeles, when every freeway, for a 50-mile stretch is a parking lot. And not one within walking distance of your seats. So it's like, it kind of a funky deal. And I think that kind of threw some things off because the crowd really packed in that second hour.
Yeah, no, that's maybe people, places on PST just shouldn't be, Pacific Standard Time they should just not be allowed wrestling shows. I think that's personally the answer.
It's just tough during the week. It's a start time thing, man.
Is.
You almost have to tape it or something, which is hard in today's day and age. Yeah,
you are right.
It's just a difficult thing. It's like, it's because of the primetime schedule. You got to cover the 4 time zones.
And plus international, it's really, really difficult.
It's a difficult equation.
I feel bad for them. I feel bad for all the weekly shows. But anyway, guys, on that note, hopefully this AEW Dynamite will over deliver and surprise us all. I think it could. Not too much has been announced, so it's definitely, we could see some surprises in there. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Josh. Hold
on. Have you not seen what Soul has been saying though? See his comment. You're in trouble.
Oh, he's not happy I'm talking about Wheeler. Oh well. I'm gutted. I'm about as gutted as I'm excited for his return. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you check out WWR Daily tomorrow at 11 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. See, we know the American times. And also Allison analysis in the morning.
It's noon in
plus
Hawaii.
David Sheldon's review. We will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.